Hey there tech fans, Rick here again from the O-Ray team. In today's video, I'll explain how you can use an HDMI extension kit like the O-Ray EX-330-KVM to share HDMI media content from one location with multiple remote locations at the same time. Now normally an HDMI extension kit like this one has a transmitter module, a receiver module, and some type of connection between the two modules. And that connection can be a coaxial cable, a LAN cable, or even a wireless connection. And the transmitter module is responsible for converting the HDMI media stream into a signal that can be sent across that connection. And then the receiver picks up that signal and converts it back into an HDMI media stream that can be displayed on a monitor. And these are typically in a one-to-one relationship where you have one transmitter and one remote receiver. And they work really well and they're very easy to use. What's different about the EX-330-KVM is that it's network capable, which means a single transmitter can send the same media content to 10 different remote locations at the same time simply by plugging another receiver module into your network. And you'll receive the same HDMI signal at those locations, which is wonderful if you're trying to send the same media content at home, maybe a movie you're watching in the den, to an upstairs bedroom and downstairs in the den at the same time. Or even in a commercial setting, you may need to broadcast the same media stream to multiple monitors at a trade show or in an environment where you've got to distribute the same content. So the product is incredibly smart and incredibly easy to use. Now some other advantages that the EX-330-KVM provides include infrared blasters, which essentially collect up the remote control signal from those remote locations and send those signals back across that same transport to the primary location where they're rebroadcast so you can remotely control the content you're watching. One other advantage is this product also provides KVM functionality, which allows you to connect the keyboard and mouse up at one of the remote locations and remotely control a computer located at the primary site. So the product is very advanced and very sophisticated, and it makes it incredibly simple to distribute the same content to multiple remote locations. The product is also USB 1.1 and HDCP 1.4 compliant and fully supports high-definition 1080p media content, so anything you're playing at the primary site can be viewed immediately at those remote locations over a single Cat5 or Cat6 connection cable between them. Now, if you stay tuned next, what I'd like to do is take a closer look at both of the modules and explain the connections. I'll do a quick demonstration to show you how you can cascade the same HDMI media content to multiple remote locations, and then I'll come back one more time and point out a few things that are really unique about this product if you're looking for something like this in the market, so you'll understand what features you can compare to other products you're considering. Included with the kit is a transmitter module and a receiver module. Both of these feature full metal enclosures, which make them perfect for a commercial or residential installation. Let's start with the transmitter module. On the one end, you'll find a full-sized HDMI port. This connects to whatever media device you'd like to share the content from with your remote locations. If you decide to enable the KVM functionality at one of the remote locations, you'll need to connect it to your PC with this connection right here. You'll find on the other end a DC power port. That's used with the included power supply. You'll simply plug that into the wall. The other end of the cable has a barrel connection on it, which plugs in right there. To the right of that is a LAN port. That's where one end of the Cat5 cable or Cat6 cable plugs in between the transmitter and the receiver if you're in a one-to-one relationship, or between the transmitter and your networking gear. To the right of that is a 3.5mm port that's used with the infrared blasters. In this case, you'll plug in the smaller of the two modules into the IR out port. The receiver is very similar. On the one end, you'll find an HDMI output port. This connects to your monitor you'd like to enjoy the content on in that remote location. To the right of that are two full-sized USB-A ports for a keyboard and mouse connectivity. That way you can control the computer at the primary location from this remote location. On the other end, you'll find a DC power port just like on the transmitter. Again, plug the power supply in, plug the barrel connector in right there to provide all the power you'll need for the module's operation. To the right of that is another LAN port, and that's where the other end of the cable from the transmitter plugs in, or you can connect this to your network equipment. Finally, to the right of that is one more 3.5mm port for the infrared blaster receiver. That's the larger of the two modules. Simply plug that in there to enable remote control of the content. That's pretty much it for the two modules. Now I'll show you just how easy it'll be to use this product with your own equipment. And for this demonstration, over here I've set up a small media player that's currently looping a video on this monitor, and that's the media content I'd like to share with my remote locations. Now that can be anything that outputs an HDMI signal, like a DVD player, a game console, even a computer. Over here, I've set up 2 monitors that represent my remote locations, and this is where I'd like to enjoy the content from that primary location. In front of me, I have the transmitter module here and the receiver module here. Now, the first connection I'll make is to the transmitter module, and I'll start by connecting my media device up to the unit by unplugging the HDMI cable from my monitor and plugging that directly into the HDMI input port on the transmitter. And now I'm all set to connect my monitor up at the receiver. This is the remote location. I've got an HDMI cable already connected up to the monitor, and I'll plug that into the HDMI output port on my first receiver. And now I can add the connection between them. Again, this can be a Cat 5 or a Cat 6 cable in this case. And I've got a short LAN cable right here. That's a Cat 6. I'll plug that into the LAN port on the transmitter and the other end into the LAN port on the receiver. Now this is if I'm going to use this solution in a one-to-one relationship. And now I'm all set to plug in the power supplies. I've already plugged those into the wall. The other end of those cables have barrel connectors on them. I'll plug in this one on the transmitter, and I'll plug the second one into the receiver. Now the minute I add the power to these units, they're going to start a power on self-test, which basically checks the electronics inside to make sure everything is working okay. It's also checking the resolution of my media player on the transmitter side and the resolution of my monitor on the receiver side to make whatever adjustments are needed to give you the best possible picture at that remote location. Once it finishes that self-test, you'll see the display come up over here, and there you go. So what you're seeing now is content from the primary site, that's HDMI, converted to a signal that can be sent across this LAN cable to the receiver, then convert it back into an HDMI media stream for display in the monitor. Now that's a one-to-one relationship. If I decide I want to cascade that same content to multiple locations at the remote sites, I can add another one of the receivers, which I have right here, but I can't plug it in directly. I need some type of hub or some type of switch to plug it into, but in a network situation, you'll have some type of hub or switch to plug into. So I've got a simple hub right here that I can plug into, and what I'll do is disconnect my transmitter, plug that directly into any open port on the hub, and then I'll need another cable to reconnect that. I've got another LAN cable right here, and I'll plug that into the LAN port on the receiver, number 1, and plug that into another port on the hub, and that'll reconnect the transmitter to one of the receivers, and now I'm ready to connect this one up. So I've got another HDMI cable right here from the second monitor, and I'll plug that into the HDMI output port on the second receiver. Then I can connect this up to the network as well. I need another LAN cable, and I'll plug that into the LAN port on the second receiver. And again, any port over here is fine. And then I'll have to add power to that second unit. I've already plugged in that second power supply. And as soon as I plug this in, that second receiver will start its self-test. Once that finishes, you'll see the same media content from the primary site displayed on both of these monitors. Now, the nice thing about this kit is that I can cascade 10 receivers off a single transmitter, which means I can have 10 locations that are seeing the same media content from that primary site. So it gives me the ability to cascade to quite a few locations, again, in a residential setting or a commercial setting. Beyond that, both of these units have infrared blaster kits associated with it where I can actually pick up the remote control signals from those locations and send those back through my switching network to the primary location where they're rebroadcast so I can control the content I'm watching. And it really is just that simple to get it working. I hope that closer look and demonstration were helpful. Now here are a few really important things to keep in mind when you're comparing the Array EX-330-KVM network-capable HDMI extender with other products you may be considering. The first thing has to do with its networking capabilities. Most HDMI extenders are in a one-to-one relationship with a single transmitter and a single receiver, and they do a great job of sending HDMI media content to a single remote location in your home. Maybe you'd like to send a movie you're watching in the den to an upstairs bedroom. But if you'd like to send that same media content to multiple locations, you'll need a unit that's network capable like this particular product. Because with this one, you can have a single transmitter at your primary location and send that same media content to 10 remote locations at the same time. So you can start off with a single location, and if you'd like to distribute the same content maybe downstairs to the den, just plug in an additional receiver and you'll receive that same HDMI media content there. This is perfect for a residential environment where you can share a movie with the entire family, or even in a commercial environment where you may have to share the same video feed with multiple monitors. Another advantage this product provides are the infrared blasters that are included with the kit, and they allow you to remotely control the content from those secondary locations that you're watching from the primary location by picking up those remote control signals and sending those back over that same connection to the primary location where they're rebroadcast, again, so you can remotely control the content. Another advantage this product provides is the KVM functionality that allows you to connect the keyboard and mouse up at one of the remote locations to remotely control the computer at the primary site. Other advantages include the certifications. This product is both USB 1.1 as well as HDCP 1.4 compliant and fully supports high definition 1080p media content. Everything you need to get started is included with the kit, and with a few simple connections, you can be up and running in no time. So until next time, thanks for watching.